Welcome to Three C's in a Pod, episode 5. I'm assuming it's 5. If the number's wrong, just assume I put the right number.
Fuck it. What's good?
So we're gonna jump right into it. All right. So you guys already know I think the hot topic right now is the 65 game mandatory rule to
Yep.
qualify for awards, right? And not just award like season awards, but all NBA and
Yeah, yeah.
all defense. And I think the big topic of discussion is a lot of players are coming out um, kind of against it, right? They don't like the idea that awards are tied to games played. So I guess we can kind of get into, and I think you guys can go first. What your thoughts are on the 65 game rule and your thoughts on
Uh, I mean, I'm not gonna. We can like keep going back and forth about it, but
it. Not for sure. Yeah.
I think it's cool, and it's just ironic that like the players are, because I think it's an unwritten criteria already, or it's been like an unwritten criteria for awards specifically. I wouldn't say
It
like
was it
all
was
NBA teams and all defensive
it
teams and
was
stuff.
left to the voters themselves to
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
pick
yeah.
that criteria. Yeah.
But we haven't seen an MVP or play in less than 65 games except for Bill Walton like one time, and
Yeah.
like his specific scenario was just like OD. So I
Yeah.
guess you can justify that in some way, but it's not like anyone who's played less than 65 has been able to win it regardless. So it doesn't feel like such a harsh um, what is it, like cutoff in a way. So it's just funny to see the players like reacting crazy about it. Because yeah, I don't think the overall like cutoff is much different from what we've seen before. It's just the first time that we've ever had a specific criteria for MVP, which I think is like it's more good than bad. Like, because before MVP was just so wishy-washy. It was like this year it's the winning player with the best narrative, and then this year it's he carried his team even though he's a little less in the standings at this point and stuff like that. So for them to have like one uh point of criteria out of like all the 10 things that you could possibly go through, which is like kind of ironic that the players are freaking out about it.
Yeah.
And this is to say that I don't think it should be tied into all NBA stuff, because that's where things get like way more different.
Mhm.
Because those get into like contracts and supermaxes and stuff like that. So I know the main talk has been Embiid and his injury slash like playing games when he was a little bit like when his knee wasn't right, basically.
Yeah.
But I think the more like not interesting conversation, but the more like prevalent one should be about like Hallie, where it's like homie's not on, like he's playing off the bench at this point, but he came back from his hamstring injury early so that he could fit the criteria to get
The
the
incentive.
supermax.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he knows that he's on the trajectory of hitting all NBA.
Right.
So for him to have to basically play on like a fucked up hamstring, which is like an injury that can like, it's super wishy-washy with that kind of injury too. It's like
Yeah.
you could take a couple months or you could like be off the whole season
Yep.
just to recover from this hamstring or a hamstring injury. So I think that's where it can be detrimental for the players, because yeah, once it, like I said, ties into the all NBA stuff, that's when it's like super contract reliant, and then you will have players going out of their way injured to play so that they can hit that 65 game
Yeah, for
threshold.
sure. I actually had the same exact note. I think 65 games as a minimum is a good thing. Like for the most part, you shouldn't be the MVP. You shouldn't be honestly any sort of acknowledgement award like that if you don't
Yeah.
play in a percentage of games, right? And 65 is like 79% of the games. That's not a lot to ask for, right? You're not gonna win Employee of the Month if you show up 2 weeks out of the month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I had a note here with that the All NBA tie, which I agree fully. Where it's like you can't have both. It should be one or the other for All NBA to be tied to your contract. Where
Yeah.
it's like I I don't know if there was a discussion or like backlash with that being the case when they implemented that new thing in the CBA where all NBA can kick you to like a supermax. But
Yeah.
I think JT was one of the biggest ones where he lost out on $40 million because he didn't make All NBA. Right, he got snubbed that year. Um, and now with the injury, not the injury, the games played clause, right? It's even a bigger deal because that affects your money and your pay trajectory.
Yeah.
So I do think moving forward, I don't dislike the 65 game rule. If anything, that's a needed rule. But you should kind of just get rid of the tie of a supermax to All NBA altogether.
Yeah.
Because
No, I agree.
at this point, like if a team's gonna pay a guy, he's gonna pay a guy, and you shouldn't tie that. It's kind of like college, right? A lot of people do one and done because you don't want to get hurt before your opportunity at the NBA, and it's the same
Yeah.
situation here, right? You don't want a guy to push through an injury. Like load management is one thing, but if a guy is legitimately hurt, like Embiid has been, and he's been playing to try to get MVP, Hallie, he's been playing to try to get All NBA to get that supermax. Like you shouldn't really, you know, I don't know. The word is slipping my fucking head right now, man. But like, you shouldn't punish a guy because he got
Yeah.
hurt, legitimately.
I mean, I think that could be a whole. I don't know. I think that is an interesting one too because they could either go the route of getting rid of the supermax with that kind of incentive, or they just get rid of the specific 65 game rule to this All NBA tie overall. Because that's where I would go or I would lean towards because I won't say like there's enough of a sample size for me to say whether the supermax has been good or bad because of the new like financial rules and stuff. So I want to see how like the supermax ties into how teams are built now, especially because of a lot of the new restrictions and like cutoffs and stuff for for like how much you can pay players and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested to see how that will be because I think it will create like more parity overall. And then people will still get their supermaxes and stuff. But I think the more obvious one for me is just to not tie the 65 game to the All NBA because that has never really been a criteria. Like if you have an All NBA season, you have an All NBA season. Obviously MVP is like the highest of that prestige. So in my opinion, it makes sense that like you add one more extra layer to that, which is like you got to play 80% of the games.
Yeah, not for sure. I agree with you. That's kind of what I had to say too. I mean, kind of common sense. Like, yeah, it was an unwritten rule, but having that criteria and having it implemented fully, like 65 games is the minimum. I think it's the best way because, like Rizak was saying, you can't not like show up and be a part of team success and stuff and be dominating and be putting up a good season and just not getting rewarded for it or being in talks for it. And when it comes to all NBA stuff, I think it's a different scenario, I guess, that you can't tie that or just play a minimum amount of games into just being all NBA. You know what I'm saying? Like for example, like Kawhi, he could be putting up crazy season, but if he goes down with an injury, like you can't say he wasn't all NBA caliber when he was playing and healthy. So yeah, I mean same shit ties with Joel Embiid and Hallie. So I think they just gotta fix that and kind of just maybe make up a new rule and kind of just set it aside and keep it away from the 65 game room and just the awards in general.
I mean, I could see the argument though, where it's like, if you play, okay, all right, let's throw out this scenario here, right? If two people are having really good seasons, and let's say one guy played 40 games and one guy played 60 games, and the seasons are relatively comparable, but the guy that played 40 games had a clear-cut better season.
Yeah.
Would you reward the guy that played 40 games All NBA, or would you reward the guy that played 60 games?
I mean, I think that's
because I would reward the guy that played 60 games.
Well, honestly, I wouldn't say now because that is just like dependent on the voters and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's impossible to appease everything because there have been snubs. Like you talked about Tatum getting snubbed prior to that.
For sure.
Like I think that just is bound to happen for all NBA, similar to like All Star stuff, which we will talk about after.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that one should be left. I think it's fine to be left towards the voters in that criteria. Just because, like, yes, all NBA matters like a lot for sure. But like I said, it doesn't have that like you're winning the award for the season, as in
Yeah.
like the MVP, DPOI, and stuff like that. Where
For
I
sure.
feel like they may have it makes more sense to me to have a little bit more like restrictions for
think-
those, or like cutoffs and stuff.
I think for me, I just don't like the All NBA thing altogether because
Yeah.
one guy, because it's always a media award. All NBA is a complete media award. All defense is a complete media award, right? So like, it comes down to these media people control whether or not a guy makes his extra supermax or not. And,
Yeah.
and obviously it doesn't tie to the 65 game thing, but I don't like that criteria.
Yeah, I
in
mean,
general.
I'm a little less indifferent about it because I don't think there have been as many like egregious cases of people getting snubbed for All NBA. I think
Jason Tatum.
for the most part, like if you, yeah, I mean, outside of that Jason Tatum one, which was like 3 years ago, you know,
Yeah.
so it's like I can't think off the top of my head. I was like, oh, this guy like didn't make All NBA, and that was
Right.
like a snub. But I can think off the top of my head where it's like, maybe this guy probably should have won MVP, but the narrative and the not clear criteria for MVP led to this person winning MVP instead, because that was just his year that the media was like really pushing him. So it's like I'm not too, maybe if I like really dove in and like saw who like could have gotten All NBA the last like 2-3 years or something like that. Like I said, the only one that sticks out is like Tatum, but that's because we're Celtics fans as well.
It also sticks out mainly because of the supermax incentives.
And the supermax. But like I said, I don't think there's been cases of that recently where it's just like, yeah, someone missed out on hella money, or someone just like universally everyone was like, damn, like how did he not make All NBA?
Yeah.
So that's just my thing with that. But honestly, I think the Embiid thing is another like a different like conversation that I am like not in favored for. So like obviously I'm in favor for like Hallie, because I think what he has to do is kind of like stupid.
He has to
because he has to get those games in for sure. But I think like Embiid had me like questioning a little bit, because obviously those contract incentives and stuff like that won't really matter. He already won MVP last season.
Yeah.
So for him to, I mean, be obviously like looking to
win it again.
Yeah, push for this MVP was kind of like, it just, I don't know, like a character type thing from him. And I mean, like, this obviously is not me trying to be like a crazy Embiid hater, but it could have been like the perfect storm of like everyone talking shit about him ducking games too, because I think that's valid. Like if he's trying to like prove that he's not ducking these big games and stuff like that, I could see where mentally he's trying to like get out on the court. But yeah, if it was like an MVP push, I just don't think that was like
I'm laughing because it actually came out that I don't know if it's true, but there was a report that he was bullied to play because the Nuggets when everybody assumed he was ducking.
I mean, yeah, I know the Nuggets were like booing him and shit.
And they were like where's Embiid? Where's Embiid? The chance, but it's like, bro, I think LeBron said it best, right? Because like in 2011, Twitter isn't as popular as it is now. Back in 2011, but it was around. And I think LeBron, prior to 2012, when he actually pushed through and won, he was like up late reading articles and criticisms about him, and it affected his game, right?
Yep.
And I think it highlights, like, bro, you probably shouldn't let NBA Twitter dictate how you manage your career.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and
it's way harder now too. But I get
it's harder. But I feel like, dude,
but plenty of people are able to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but like a majority of the NBA is able to do it.
Yeah.
Right. Even look at KD. KD's a troll on Twitter.
Yep.
And I think it's funny because he replied to a guy on Celtics Twitter before he went out and dropped like 45, which is crazy, right? Some people are built for that shit. Embiid clearly is not, man. Like, get off Twitter, bro.
Yeah, which is ironic because he's supposed to be like the troll.
Yeah, troll Embiid. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so it's like, but yeah, I mean, I just think that people are conflating the two ideas of like the 65 game rule and MVP and like Embiid's thing. Like, I think, yeah, there are some ties to him playing it because he wanted to hit that 65 threshold and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like, he did do that on his like own accord. And I mean, maybe even like the staff and stuff did that to try to like, get him another MVP and stuff. But I just think that is like partially on the staff for sure for like allowing him to go back into the game and stuff.
I think a
But
big part of it's on the staff.
no, absolutely, yeah. And then like just Embiid too, because I don't know why he cares so much about those things, like what the fans are saying about him dunking or getting another MVP. When it seems like he's been trying to focus on the playoffs and shit like that, but clearly like that one game like really fucked him up. And like and maybe a lot of their chances in the playoffs because of that meniscus tear. So yeah, I just think those conversations weren't really like in the same light. Yes, they have like some overlapping problems, I guess. But yeah, I just think the whole like Embiid injury and all that kind of stuff was a whole like different thing. Which I mean, yeah, it is unfortunate, and like it's crazy that he's gotten to this point with like his fucked up knees since like he came into the league.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little distasteful, I guess.
Part of it too is like I think the whole process was he fell to third because of the injury history. Right? I think a lot of people at the time kind of saw him as the highest ceiling player, and most people were right in that regard.
Yeah.
But the injury history was what concerned most people, and he's been dealing with it his whole career. Right? He missed his entire. I think he missed the first 2 seasons of his career. Did he not?
Yeah. I think in the third one, I think he played like less
a
than
really
15 games.
little amount of games. Yeah. So it's like we knew he had an injury history, and like I said, just reading into trolls is crazy to me. But I really do hope, and this is speaking as a very biased fan, because the Celtics got a lot of shit for the Isaiah Thomas situation, right? And he himself, Isaiah Thomas, has come out and kind of like, put a little like shit talking on the medical staff for letting him play and kind of like downplaying the severity of the injury. And whether that's true or not, leave it up to it as it is. But like the staff had to have known in Philly about the extent of this injury, right? We're talking about a dude that's been injury prone his entire career. Like I don't think he's ever gone into the playoffs. Like nobody goes into the playoffs fully healthy. But I don't think Embiid has ever played a playoff series. Like
I think he's only had like 3 playoff series where he played every game.
Yeah, not even just playing every game, but not having like a major injury attached.
Yeah, but like, dude, he like always be getting injured even in playoff series. So it's
exactly.
Like, it's right.
So like the medical staff knowing this, like, dude, why are you pushing regular season games? On this dude that clearly has a fucked up knee, and arguably your best season or opportunity of a season to like actually advance to the conference finals or even potentially the finals. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I do believe that when I know Nick Nurse specifically said that it was a different knee, or like it was the other knee that was actually bothering him. And I do believe that, but I still think it's stupid for them to take any kind of chance like that. Like even if the other knee was just like, regular soreness or like a nagging problem, he still went out there and was like hobbled and shit like that. Yes, the other knee ended up being the one that got like ran into by Kuminga and like got the actual tear. But I still think it's like wrong for them to have put him in the game regardless. Because I mean, he was hobbling the whole time. Even if like I said, even if it was the other knee that ended up getting injured, I think it was still in bad like fashion for the staff to allow him to get back in there.
I mean, for a guy like that, man, the staff, I think just the organization as a whole, man, sometimes I feel like they don't take into account like how players truly feel sometimes. Like, it's at the end of the day, like you're on the team, you're getting paid, like they kind of expect you to play, but for that, Joel Embiid's caliber, size, and like skill set, like when he's out there playing, man, he's doing a lot, bro. Like, and I mean, with some major injury like that, having to go out there, even for just like 15, 20 minutes, I think it could even just make injury way worse than it already is. The fact that he's already getting pushed to do that, like that's a lot of work already. So, and yeah, given his injury history, like it's no joke. So I feel like, I don't know, like, yeah, he's getting bullied to probably feel like that pressure to play. But I think at the end of the day, the league in general, I think the players just have to take more accountability and just kind of look out for themselves and their health. Like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's a game. and you love playing basketball, but there should be a certain point where like you got you know yourself and your body, like you got to sit out. And if he was already sitting out games, like yeah, I mean it wasn't against the best teams, but like dude, it had to be something serious. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah.
I saw something. I don't know if it's true. I don't even know if the guy's a real doctor. But
That's crazy.
you know what I'm saying? No, but what he was saying made a
Weird
lot of
doctors.
sense. As someone with real knee issues, and you could ask Nathan, all right? I got real knee issues.
mhm.
Being old sucks, by the way. Uh, there was a guy he was on Twitter, so like I said, take this with a grain of salt, but it sounded very legitimate in my opinion. Just thinking of how like you go through the motions as someone who plays basketball, like obviously not to the NBA level, but just playing in general. Um, we always make fun of Joel Embiid for flopping and kind of
Mhm.
like flailing around and falling to the ground after every little bit of contact, right? But
Mhm.
this guy was saying him flailing is obviously um on purpose. He does it on
Oh
purpose.
yeah.
And not just to get calls for fouls. Right? That's kind of like a side effect and a very beneficial one, obviously. um but falling when you get contact, like physical contact like that, lessens the load on your knees.
Yeah.
And when like think about it this way, right? If you're playing ball and you're dribbling and Nathan can you know Jason and Justin, right? Kyle?
Yeah.
Huh?
You know Jason
Yeah.
and Justin, the twins?
Of course.
Those
Yeah, of course.
motherfuckers are crazy, okay? All they do is foul, first of all. All they do is
Yeah.
foul. If you're watching this, all you do is foul. So, like, when you make contact with them, right, with people like that, right? And we're talking NBA players now. That pressure on your knee is taking a lot of force. You're already taking a lot of force just by running. Now, imagine a big 6'10", 280-pound dude making contact with you. Him flailing takes a lot of the pressure off his knees, and that's why he's been able to play like the amount of games he's been playing and playing through a lot of his injuries. Right?
Yeah.
That's what this guy was saying.
No,
And
yeah.
it makes a
It's
lot of
been
sense,
like
man.
it's been a thing. Like I think I don't know who you saw specifically, but I've been seeing it for like a couple years now for sure that he was like incentivized to do so or like trained to do so because a lot of the times like he's just landing on his body
Yeah.
rather than bracing impact or like
It's intentional.
on stuff like with his legs, and like it does get egregious because we've seen like
Oh my
crazy
God.
like throwing his body on the floor, like diving into people type shit.
Yeah,
And I think like there's definitely a line for it.
for sure.
Because he does it to the extent where it's like
Oh
he
my
could
God.
he could throw his like 7'1" fucking body into the legs of someone, and he already
Yeah.
did that with like Danny Green in a playoff series
Yep.
and like fucked his legs up. But he could do that for other players, and it's like harmful as well. But he does it specifically because of his like his own knees and the brace that he gets from like
Yeah.
taking up all that contact in his style of play. So I mean, I think those are valid. Like those are for real thing. Because I mean, he didn't always play like this either. Like
No,
the
he
way
did
that
not. He didn't.
he's like bracing contact now. It's way more different. And the fact and since he's been doing it, at least from my recollection, he's been able to play the way that he's been playing and like as consistently as he's been playing.
And playing more.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
You can go, Nitro.
so now that you brought that up, I mean, yeah, actually, that makes a lot more sense when you think about it. But like, I mean, first thing that came to mind is that like Trey Young, like this dude gets calls like crazy, but I feel like he doesn't automatically do it on purpose. You know what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
he just does it as an acting job. But then in Joel's case, I think I mean, learning how to do that to take the pressure off, needs like that. I mean, you're gonna have to do what you gotta do again. Like your health is your number one priority. So
Yeah.
He's definitely great at flopping and getting calls, but
mhm.
he also just actually like I think there's a little in between of both.
100%.
Like
Yeah.
obviously, like even with the Trey thing, it's a little it's similar to being like he's so disadvantaged at his size that he has to learn how to do that too. But he does
Mhm.
actually get a lot of contact because he's small.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say the last thing for the 65 game rule thing was another like pro or like benefit I've been seeing, and maybe it's just unrelated and it's just a coincidence. We'll see like later on. But we've had like the healthiest seasons from the people who are like the poster childs of fucking load management, and I think that,
Yep.
in my opinion, has to do with the 65 game rule at least.
Yeah.
Like Kawhi, healthy
Oh my
season.
God,
I think he's missed like 5 games this season.
Okay.
And to be fair, this was his first offseason in a while where he hasn't had an injury, so he was just like doing regular workouts and like he wasn't doing rehab. And then obviously Paul George, I think by now it's maybe like closer to 7 to 10 or something like that. But he also has a very relatively healthy season so far. And then AD
Yep.
has only missed like 3 or 4 games.
So I saw a crazy stat where AD is top 3 in games played since like
Yeah.
the last 2 years.
That's crazy.
Which is kind of crazy because we call him day-to-day Davis.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
So like I said, those could all be like a large coincidence for the rule to start this year, and we'll see later on. But I do think it has given some of these players some incentive, because as much as they say they don't give a fuck about like awards or like achievements and stuff, it's like there's no way that you don't think that you're one of the top like 15 players in the league and should get that kind of recognition. So yeah, it's been nice to see, and it doesn't look like any of those guys are forcing playing with injuries and stuff. Like I think Kawhi ended up having a hip injury and he sat 5 games, something like that. So it's like he came back at a regular time, or regular timeline, and has just continued to play and like ball out.
Yeah.
So that is like a pro that I've seen offer it from the 65 game rule.
For sure.
Which would be like, my last thing about it.
No, I agree. Like that is interesting to think about, because like the names we mentioned were the obvious ones, but yeah, Kawhi Leonard only missing 5 games is crazy.
Right?
Because like
he's having a crazy season, man.
Because the last 4 years, I think he's played in less than 30 games in each of them, which is kind of crazy to think about. Hey,
he's balling out, man.
Maybe he's learning how to flail. Speaking of AD, okay. So I read this on Twitter again, so take this with a grain of salt. But the guy that I read it about he called LeBron going back to Cleveland the first time. After he left Cleveland to go to Miami, and he called Kawhi to the Clippers. Long before there was actually, like, at the time, I believe there were rumors of Kawhi going to the Lakers to team up with Bron, and then this guy kind of broke it out where he's like, Kawhi doesn't want to play with LeBron, he wants to go to the Clippers. And then that was like the prerequisite to the Paul George trade and all that shit. So this guy is saying the Lakers are actually looking into trading LeBron James. So we had a very lengthy discussion about this the other day.
We did. In the group chat, baby.
In the group chat, yeah. But shit, man. First of all, I'll preface this with this, right? This is unprecedented territory. I don't think I know, all due respect to Kevin Durant, right? But I don't think a player of LeBron James' stature, I don't give a fuck how old he is, has ever like been in trade discussions. Because I think back to even Wizards Jordan. The fucking Washington Wizards were not going to trade Michael Jordan. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I do think it's a little different too when the players requesting it versus like just genuinely getting traded. You know what I'm saying?
Even look into it is crazy.
No, exactly.
The thought of, even if he requested it, I'm not even like knocking.
No. The thing is, I don't think that. So like the way that it was reported, it made it sound like Pelinka and stuff were looking at, like,
exactly,
doing it rather than like LeBron. So that I feel like is the most like
insane,
jarring thing, because you never the MJs of the world and like LeBron, which are basically like the only two in the world, you would never feel like the front office would shop them in any capacity, no matter how old they are.
Or even Kobe. Like I know Kobe requested a trade
exactly
but like I don't think the Lakers themselves are like looking to trade Kobe on their own.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, so okay. With that being said, I thought it would be fun to kind of list teams you think would make sense to trade for LeBron James.
Yep. So I mean, I already said some when we had our last discussion, but we can list them.
All right. So you want to throw out names each?
Yeah, I'll throw out a name. Like my top one was, and I mean, this ain't like a surprise at this point because everyone's talking about it. But the Knicks, that was just they just make the most sense to me. I mean, we might hear some other ones, but they make at least like top 2 in terms of like making sense, because
they make the most sense.
I agree. I would say so, but
Yeah.
like I didn't really dive into the other teams yet. But
Yeah.
I think they make the most sense because of the way that they're built. They truly just need like one, like another superstar. You know what I'm saying? And LeBron is basically just like Randall on crack, even at this age. Like in terms of like how he would fill in to the team.
Yeah.
And then yeah, they're the Knicks are built in a way which I mean I don't know if we're ever or we might get into talks about Knicks specifically later, but I think the Knicks are built in the perfect way for a team that doesn't have a superstar or like high end star that can compete for a championship. Like they literally have from 1 to like 12 a like super good roster. But they just don't have that big wing, in my opinion. I wouldn't say like superstar star, because obviously like Jalen Brunson is a great star or like a high level star. But like I've been saying, they just don't have a big wing to bring them to that like championship contention. So Braun would easily slot in, and it's not like they don't have a lot of assets. Everyone has been talking about them being able to move their assets for someone like Donovan Mitchell, who is a superstar in his own right. So it wouldn't be crazy for them to use similar assets to get LeBron because he's aging, and because if this scenario happened, like he would have requested it,
Yeah, he
so
would have his preferred destination.
Yeah, so it's not like you would have to give like what you would have given for Dono plus that. So I think any superstar package the Knicks are able to do now.
And it doesn't help that he's tweeting the Statue of Liberty.
But he's trolling.
No, I agree, and I think this kind of pulls back to the discussion of, and maybe you guys have changed your mind. I haven't. I don't think Jalen Brunson could be the best player on the championship team.
No, I don't think he can either.
And even at 39 years old, LeBron James would immediately be the best player on that team. And we always talk about, maybe we not always talk about, but this is a very obvious thing where he obviously takes the assignment off defensively because he's older, right? It's understandable. The Knicks are a good enough defensive team to kind of make up for that deficiency at this point in his career. So it just makes so much sense, man. And I don't want it to happen. Because,
that'd be scary as fuck.
Stay in the West, LeBron. Go make Space Jam 3, baby. Like we don't.
Yeah, and like the small aspect of New York and LA just being
huge
like,
markets.
Yeah, huge markets basically. So it wouldn't feel that crazy for him to move from like the biggest market to like the second biggest market.
Yeah, for sure.
Which LeBron is in his Hollywood-esque time frame. So like I said, that makes sense as well. But we can move on to the next.
Do you want to throw a team out, Nathan, or do you want me to go?
I could throw it out real quick. I mean, probably not a team that we want to hear.
I know exactly who you're going to say because I have the name.
Yeah. It's the Golden State Warriors, man.
Yeah.
I can see that too.
Golden State, bro.
Oh, you gonna say something else?
I said, is that you weren't gonna say Golden State?
No, I wasn't actually. But no.
I think I know who you're talking about. But
I have a lot of teams, but
I said Golden. Outside of New York, I'd say Golden State because I don't know. I think Golden State's kind of stuck in. I don't know. Their dynasty's coming to an end, and I feel like if it's a time where LeBron could just finally team up with Steph, I guess, and I don't know. The idea is kind of crazy still to have LeBron and Steph on the same team. Yeah, but like you said, keep them in the West. Keep them in the motherfucking West. Yeah. We don't want to see them over here in the East, dog. But we'll meet you in the NBA Finals as a Celtics fan. But shit, like LeBron and Steph, I mean, could potentially run the West alongside and compete with Jokic to like take the reins of the West. But like, I mean, dude, like LeBron. I mean, I think I saw something or TikTok or something about they're saying this trade rumor might be true and how they want to move on from LeBron because obviously Bronny's a freshman and no one knows if he's going to fully declare for the NBA draft yet, but he's they're saying he has one. This could be his last season as a Laker, and he's out regardless.
Yeah.
We don't know if that's true or not, but that's why he's requesting a trade. So, and he already said he wants to play with Bronny, so he's gonna pretty much go wherever Bronny goes.
Yeah.
So the fact that this could be his only opportunity to seize and try to make another run for a championship outside of LA, could be a possibility. I mean, for him to finally team up with Steph in Golden State would be. I mean, it could be probably record breaking. And the whole NBA would want to see that. I guess.
I will
outside
say,
of something.
I will say if they're not going to be a great regular season team, but I don't think any team is going to want to see a LeBron James and Steph Curry led in a 7-game series.
In the play.
They're basically going to be the Lakers of last year, but like
much.
better. Where it's like, yeah, they came from the play-in, but they made the Western Conference Finals because they're built for the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and I mean that'd be scary because both of their eyes would just all they would see is red when they verse us in the finals. Motherfucking Curry and LeBron, bro, they just be going crazy when they see our jerseys.
And our fucking stars forget how to play basketball against that fucking jersey. I swear to God, man.
So I would not like to see that.
Stay in the West.
But it would be a generational team up.
Listen. Jokic can deal with that shit. I don't give a fuck.
I honestly don't think like any people would hate on it either because of how old they are.
Nah, I don't think
hate on it in that way. But I don't think hate on it as in like a disservice to his career or either one of their careers. You know what I'm saying? Not like the KD Warriors.
Oh,
where it's like, that's a huge stain.
At this point, well, Steph is still in his prime, but like at this point, LeBron is out of his prime. I think there's less of a hatred on that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right, I'm gonna throw out a name. This is the name I thought you were gonna say, Nathan.
I think I know who you're gonna say now.
Miami.
Yeah.
It just makes a lot of sense, man.
It does, but at the end of the day, they'll make it like they'll figure it out if that did happen. But I'm just like, bro, that 3-point shooting is ass.
3-point shooting is ass, but dude,
spacing is ass.
LeBron would fucking like stabilize that team.
Yeah,
offensively.
He would most definitely.
I mean, he's LeBron. Of course, it would happen.
You know what I'm saying? So, and I would hate it. Stay in the West, but I think it makes sense, and they have the contracts to move to make a play for a high contract player like LeBron. So, and they
definitely have the least like assets to me out of the ones that we already listed. Yeah. But yeah, for sure, like if he had that on his short list, they would probably make it work.
I may, bro. That's an asset.
Next up.
I really believe. Like, listen, I wouldn't trade him just because they have so little assets. But like, if I'm getting LeBron fucking James, I'm trading him.
No, absolutely. I just think he's funny. I just think people gas him up. I think he's great as a player.
He's a really solid rookie.
I think he's also just benefiting off of being in a system that actually helps him like thrive. Yeah. That's a whole other conversation, 100%. But
that's what Spo does. But hey, he got.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah. I think he's great though. Like he's actually a good player, but he wouldn't be playing the way that he is if he wasn't on the Heat.
Yeah,
for sure.
I agree.
All right, you guys. I have a lot more names, but I don't know if you guys have any more.
I got one more name, but I mean, you guys might list the name, but I have the Cavs.
I also have the Cavs,
which I feel like is the other obvious one. Like my 3 obvious were the Knicks, Cavs, and the Warriors. Yeah. And the Cavs, the aspect of going back home, that's never been foreign to him. And the Cavs are just in a spot where they need someone like a LeBron. We've always talked about them not having a wing that gives them that size. They're in a similar situation with the Knicks, in my opinion, where they just need that one big wing to bring them to the championship type thing. And then they also have a unique situation where they have Mobley and Jared Allen. And I think long term, you'll have to end up choosing one or the other because their play styles are kind of just redundant. So unloading one of those guys is like, an actual asset for the Lakers. Like either one of those guys would give them actual value. So yeah, I think that just makes a lot of sense. And then Dono, Garland, LeBron, and Mobley would just be like a crazy trio. Actually,
they would still have one of Garland or Allen.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that would be a big 4, realistically.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. That would be insane.
The Cavs are the X that just won't go away. Right?
He just keeps coming back, man. He keeps coming back.
Yeah. I like the Cavs, man, because if you're the Cavs, a lot of people think that Donovan Mitchell's not happy over there. So if you have within play to get LeBron, I think that'd be a move to kind of sway Donovan Mitchell.
That would resolve 2 issues. That's true.
Yeah. Exactly.
And even in the scenario that you did give up Dono instead, Garland is still just like a great all-star point guard.
That would be fucking crazy, by the way.
Yeah. if that's what it took to get LeBron, I mean, I would be like interested. But I think, yeah, because I also think Garland and Dono have redundant like skill sets. So they have two out of the four best players just have redundant skill sets with the other two.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
like they're in such a weird situation, but that's why I think it would work too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you guys have any other teams? Because I did.
I think I have one more team, but I didn't list it. But I think you might say it.
You're probably thinking of the same team. You can say it.
T-Wolves?
Yes! That's the team. That's the team. Okay. I know who you're thinking of trading too.
Probably, yeah. I mean, hell no.
They would
Of course you get rid of Cat.
They would trade Cat for LeBron, bro. That would be crazy.
100% you get rid of Cat, bro.
That situation upgrade would be so crazy, bro.
Yeah, Cat's a power forward now, bro. He can play with Anthony Davis.
But no, for real. Like, dude, the Timberwolves with LeBron would expedite a lot of what we're seeing. Because, like, they're what? I think they're tied for first right now, right? They're not actually
Yeah, they're tied
right
for
now?
first at this point.
Yeah.
But they're technically second because it's tiebreaker.
So they're obviously still a team, in my opinion, that's still figuring shit out, right?
Yep.
Once they get to the playoffs, they're still not a very experienced team. They've had two playoff series and one playing game, and one of the playoff series they had CTE like the entire series where they were up 20. They were up 20 every fucking game, and
that was crazy.
Lost the series still. This is insane. But LeBron would expedite that. And they have it would literally be a 1-for-1 swap, which is insane when you think about it. And the Lakers would go for it, right? Why not? You know, LeBron wants out anyway.
Like, yeah, I mean, in that scenario, I see it for sure. Like, I think that would be the only aspect of it that doesn't, that wouldn't make sense to me is just the location. Like, him going to Minnesota. I said, like,
and that's why I said it would be hilarious.
Yeah, it would be hilarious. That's why I'm like, oh, New York. New York makes sense. It's like the second biggest place. Cleveland, like he's going back to back to his hometown, and then the Warriors. It's like he's not even that far off from the West. Like they're still
even the Heat.
And the Heat is going back to Miami. It's like it's still a bigger market. But like the T-Wolves would be just hilarious because like who the fuck wants to go to Minnesota? And like that's why like that would be the ultimate like he wants to go for the chip type shit. Because for sure the team is great, and it's similar to the Knicks in my opinion, where they have a lot of defensive players to put around LeBron as he's like, you know, coasting a little bit. And their biggest problem, which I mean, I'm sure we'll get to when we talk to like contenders and stuff soon too, is like their fourth quarter offense and just like their crunch time offense in general. I think it's very lacking, and it has costed them a lot of games in this like recent month. And so
it's literally Ant Edwards hero ball. At the end.
Yeah, and half the time, like he can't do it. Like he's taking really, really tough shots. So LeBron would easily like help handle that because obviously he's LeBron, so he could handle the fourth quarters and like decision making and shit like that. So yeah, that would just be like a great fit.
Andy would stay in the West. Listen, man, I have an agenda here. So,
and off extension, I feel like there's another team we got to say.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, which you could just say.
Thunder, baby.
I'm like, if we're talking about the Wolves,
it just
the
makes
Thunder are literally
so
the
much
same
sense, bro. It does, and they're in the West, which makes it even better. But like, but like, they have the assets to move. They have the contracts to move.
They have the most assets,
and they can and they realistically could keep Chet, Jalen Williams. Like they could keep the core together too, while pulling off this trade. You know what I mean? And they would still be giving value to the Lakers. On top of that, they have
now and later.
Yeah, they have a fucking arsenal of picks. Like you got to trade them at some point, man. You can't have 52 people on your roster. So OKC just makes a lot of sense, man. And again, the same situation as the Wolves, where they would expedite that contention process. And it's scary to think about. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and honestly, like the Thunder don't even have many problems. Like their only problem is size, and LeBron would absolutely give them way more size on the front court. Like. J-Dub will not like the 6'6" J-Dub will not have to play power forward anymore. Like that is insane. Running LeBron and Chet would be fucking crazy. Dude, so they get Bron, they're easily like favorites.
Oh, like, 100%. They probably right up there with the Celtics.
Yeah,
like,
OD favorites.
Like
shit, I might be like reactive to it, but I would take them over. And like it's crazy. That's LeBron, how crazy that team would be.
Yeah, no. It's a scary thought to think about. And like I said, dude, and Sam Presti's still the GM there, right? Yeah, dude. He has the ability to top any offer anybody else has on the table.
If it were
which is scary
reality.
to think about because like you could just be like, here's 4 first-round picks.
Yep.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Here's Casey Wallace.
And it would not be a problem. Here's Lou Dort of salary. Here's Lou Dort, David Bertans, and like fucking 5 first-round picks. And the Lakers would be like, yes, please. You know what I'm saying? So that would be insane. Don't they have the? Oh no, that was last year. Sorry, they had the Lakers pick. Remember when they were supposed to be in the lottery? But anyway, yeah, that would be scary. And I have a funny team to throw out. It wasn't really serious.
This one I can't think of really.
This one is hilarious to think about, but I just want to throw it out there. The Pelicans.
I can see it.
I could see a fit in a way, but like it's just funny because it's not a situation LeBron would want to go to.
Yeah, it depends if like you keep Zion and Ingram, or if you trade one or the other. Because then their games would look so fucking ugly if they had all 3 of them.
I would imagine in that scenario you trade BI because I don't think BI likes LeBron. So.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I see that. I mean, I would trade Zion for playstyle, but it makes sense.
It's kind of like a cohesion thing because I think it's come out right. Look, BI doesn't like the Lakers.
I mean, I believe it. Yeah, I mean,
he thinks LeBron traded him, which is true because he did. Yeah, he did trade him.
Yeah, be beefing with people, man.
And I don't blame him. I'd be pissed too. Like, yo, what the fuck, man?
Wow.
You could have traded Kyle Kuzma, but you traded me. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
true.
Because they were asking for one or the other. So.
Yeah. But I mean, Bi was the better player or the better asset. So I guess.
100%. But yeah, no.
Yeah, we'll see though.
I think that out there. That's like
this is very unlikely, but it's just fun to mess around with 100%. These hypotheticals with LeBron.
I don't actually think LeBron James will be traded.
Absolutely,
but you never know, man. You never know. The NBA is a wild, wild west, man.
If he does, we will have an episode instantly. That will be fucking groundbreaking.
I mean, they fucking announced the Kevin Durant trade last year at 3 a.m, so you never know. One of these days, I'm gonna be like asleep. And then Nathan, he works third shift, is gonna fucking text the group chat. LeBron James got traded. I'm gonna wake up. Oh shit! And then, oh man, we'll see. Okay, and then all right. So All Star teams just came out. Reserves just came out. And all right, I think I'm gonna throw out the obvious snub in the West at least.
Yeah, I mean, did you?
Fox.
We can list them real quick. You
can list who?
I guess just the actual All-Star reserves.
Yeah, do you have that up? You wanna list them?
Yeah, so on the West it was Kawhi, Ant, AD, Cat, PG, Steph, and Book. So we can do our West snubs first, and then we'll talk East.
Yeah, I think the obvious one is Fox and Sabonis.
Yeah.
I think they were both. I was shocked not one, like at least one of them.
I think one or the other.
It should have been one or the other. That's what we said in the other episode. But like the fact that neither of them made it is insane to me.
Yep,
it is.
I think that was like the real snub. I think it's hard because it's not like these guys aren't really worthy of an All-Star or whatever like that. Because this has been a relatively healthy season, but I think one of Sabonis or De'Aaron should have made it. And then for my own personal pick, I would have liked Lowry to make it. I don't hate the and I don't think that's like as much of a snub. I just think that's my personal preference. I don't think with their recent play, I guess it makes sense that D-Book made it to the All-Star because I think they're like top 5, top 6 at this point.
He was also crazy leading into
they've been streaking, so I'm like, I don't hate that they had him like slot in, but I just think what Lowry has been doing for the like it would have been fun to have a different representative, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of these ended up being like doubles for the top teams rather than just like spread out because there are so many All-Star worthy players.
For
sure. And then
I
know that Cat made it, but I think all the stuff. I don't think he deserved. Yes, spot on. I mean, if it was, that
was the king spot.
It was the king spot. But if they wanted to reward Timberwolves, it should have been Rudy Gobert, in my opinion.
DPOY.
Yep.
Which is crazy because I mean they're all playing like really good because Cat like I said he's having an All-Star worthy season and like he's like 50 40 90 as in his new like power forward role and stuff like that, but personally I think Rudy has been more impactful. Obviously he's going to be way more boring in the All-Star game. But I think that spot in general should have just been for like a Kings player.
Sure.
And then my only other one was like D-Book being for like Lowry or something like that. But
Yeah.
I will say for D Book, like leading into this, I guess revealing of the reserves, he was averaging like 40 points a game for like
yeah,
the last week or so.
yeah,
I can see why it
absolutely,
was
he's been
swayed.
balling.
Yeah.
And then like the Jazz were on a heater, toned it down a little bit. They're still like with a little like 500 at this point, but yeah, like I just like different representatives. But the East All Stars was Maxi, Dono,
Yep.
Bam, Julius Randle, Paolo, Jaylen Brown, and Jalen Brunson.
I actually like the list.
Same.
In the vacuum.
Yep.
I think we agreed on this. We were talking about this in the group chat. I think Trey was definitely a snub.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think Damon in general should have been an All Star, but I mean,
Agreed.
that's not as big of a deal. But Trey absolutely should have been picked up, man.
Let alone a starter, by the way.
Exactly. Starter was crazy to me.
I thought Dono should. I think we all agreed Dono should have been the
Dono
starter.
should have been the starter.
And then like you could even make the argument for
Brunson.
Jalen Brunson too
100%.
at this point because on the heater he's
Yeah.
been on. But Dono did a lot for the Cavs as they were like hobbled for sure.
Dude, Garland was out for a month, and they actually got better, which is crazy.
Yeah, they went on a crazy streak too. And then Trae Young, I think is just like, I'm not even a Trae Young fan, bro. But like, bro, they be having vendettas against this guy. Like there ain't no way he's averaging like 25 and 27-11 this season. Yeah, 25 and 10 last season.
Yep.
And neither time makes the All-Star game.
That's insane.
It's like. And his team isn't even like egregiously bad. Like the Warriors, not even in the play-in, and Curry's in. Like obviously Curry is Curry, so he gets that like legacy pick in a way.
Dude, I mean the
Lakers
are in the play-in and they got 2 All-Stars.
Exactly, so it's like Trey's having a better season. His team isn't like great or anything, but damn, like they can't even like get his ass in there, bro. That's crazy.
Yeah, I can't really think of anybody else because I do think the East. They got it pretty much essentially right.
For sure. Yeah. I think it was just Trey. And then I think the only other one was like, or at least my personal was like Scotty, but because
Scotty, right. Sorry.
Yeah, because they fell down more, I was like, I don't hate it. I think Randall was actually like a good replacement. Because Randall's having a really good season, and the Knicks are like top 3 in the East at this point, which I don't think people really would have picked them as top 3.
Although I do think there won't be any snubs for the East because Trey. Well, no, he might actually still be snubbed. They might get someone else in there because they're probably going to replace Embiid with a big man, right?
I don't think they do I don't think they do replacements with the actual position. They just do it.
Because I know. Oh, well, actually, it's funny because isn't Jaylen Brown going to replace Embiid as a starter?
I mean, maybe
he was fourth. He was fourth in the forward voting.
In the front court.
So I think he's in the next hierarchy. 2 Celtic starters, baby.
Yes, sir. But I don't think injury replacement is directly
okay. So then
towards
correlated.
So then Trey might actually just make the team.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's basically like confirmed that he will be like a replacement because I think he's been offered to be an injury replacement All-Star like the season before and the one before that too, but he just denied it. And then I think this year,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, I think he was just like he didn't think that. He was just more like petty about it, you know. But I think he said this year he would accept it because he would be like repping more than just himself, which is like his mindset changed about it or whatever like that. So I think it's more than confirmed that he's basically going to be the injury replacement, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, I mean he is the most obvious.
Yeah, if anyone deserves it, it should be him.
Yeah,
100%.
It's not like the West. Yeah, it's not like the West where if somebody major gets injured, or if it would be funny if LeBron gets traded. Like the West has a lot more options.
Yeah.
To have a replacement. The East is like one, and I would say Scotty's a name to throw in that conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Sure.
I know people talk about like Celtics players too, like Porzingis or something like that. I don't really see it too much. Maybe that's just me being whatever, because the Celtics are my team, but I'm not really like shooting for a third All-Star from them. I mean, Derek White was kind of like a funny like meme, and I could have seen it happening.
It's not a meme, man. He's an All-Star.
No, like he was playing an All-Star like worthy caliber, but like to actually have him in there, I never really expected him to be there.
He was definitely like 4th on the hierarchy of who would make the All-Star team. Porzingis obviously being the 3rd one, but I don't think Porzingis is more deserving than Trey or Scotty even.
Yep.
personally, and
I agree.
that comes as someone that's a homer. So like,
Yeah, I just like variety, like variety in the picks.
yeah.
What was I gonna say?
But listen, I
about
would
that?
love it if Porzingis or Derek made it over these guys.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
And I would,
If we get 3 All Stars.
I would buy the jersey just because it was like something that happened. You know what I'm saying? So NBA, if you're listening, you got a jersey sale if Derek White or Porzingis make an All Star team.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Just make the All Star teams bigger. By the way, like it's been an ongoing thing.
It should be.
I don't know why
15.
they do 12, bro. Just do 15.
It should be 15.
That shit's so outdated. So get that going too.
And it would literally get rid of all the snubs that we just mentioned.
Exactly.
We only listed like 3 people in the West.
Yep.
And we said we're missing like 1 or 2 people in the
East.
and you can reward winning. Like, you know what I mean?
Exactly. So they I don't know why they haven't made that change yet, but they got to get that one going. That one's such an easy change. 15 All Stars. That's all.
Yeah, and you get to see more people play and like lessen the minutes load.
Because that happens anyways. It's like people like Jimmy Butler or some shit, or like Jokic getting All Stars. Like they're not really gonna fall out. Yeah, they don't give a fuck. Man. So let the Lowrys show out or something, or like the Scotty.
Sure, young.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Listen, and we're Celtics fans, so we have PTSD of Kemba Walker losing his entire day, playing 40 minutes in a fucking All-Star game. Fuck you, Nick Nurse.
That's facts.
I'm so sick of that shit. But no, I agree. It should be a 15-man roster, 100%.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think that's all we got for you today. Looking forward to
you don't want to do contenders?
Oh, I thought we were saving that for...
We can save that. That's all.
That's cool. Let's save it.
Okay.
Save it.
That's cool.
Your boy got to go back to sleep.
That's true. All right, we got a big episode.
We do got a big episode.
For sure.
Is it next week? No, next week is a trade deadline.
This week.
Yeah.
This
is going to be like the Wednesday episode.
This Thursday. Yeah.
Well, we got a trade deadline.
We do got a trade deadline. And you know what? LeBron James might be wearing a different jersey.
That'd be crazy.
Never know.
Yes. All right. Until next time. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.